I'm gonna ask you something very simple. If you bought something, do you own it? Well, of course you do. That's very silly of you to ask such an obvious question. You're being silly, Mr. Silly Pants. You absolute goober. What a goober. Look at this guy. I ask this because these wonderful people don't think so and have a different opinion on ownership when purchasing their video games. They think that you should get comfortable with not owning the games that you buy with your hard earned money. These corporations shut down their games never to be played again because it's not turning a profit and lining their greedy pockets. Games like The Crew, trash, Overwatch, trash, Anthem will be shutting down next year, and many more games are at risk of disappearing because some greedy suits in a cushy boardroom decided to save some money. As of now, all the power is in these companies and none to you, the consumer. Is there anything we can do? Actually, there is. Meet this handsome man, Ross Scott. He has started an initiative called Stop Killing Games, and it's an initiative that defends your rights as consumers to keep the games that you have purchased. The initiative forces publishers to have an end of life plan to leave games in a playable state should the publisher stop supporting said game. So, how are these companies killing these games? Let's pretend that you bought a copy of Butt Clapper 2069, The Clappening. To play Butt Clapper, you need an internet connection and you need to connect to the publisher's servers. If the publisher wishes to stop supporting Butt Clapper 2069, The Clappening, they will remove it from their servers and you cannot play it anymore, even if you paid for it. That sounds like stealing to me. Does this mean that publishers should be expected to keep their games online forever? Of course not. That's unreasonable. No one should be expected to do that. However, it should be expected that games should have an end of life plan in its design for these games, and its microtransactions that you have purchased to be left in a playable state should support end, which inevitably will. Another way that Ross Scott mentions is for companies to give the tools to fix and maintain these games to the people who would be willing to work on these games. It's also funny that you can still play physical copies of old games if you have the running hardware. Silent Hill 2 was released in 2001, but if you have a copy and a working PS2, you can still fully enjoy it, as if you owned the product. At this point, I'm just going on vibes here, and I hope I didn't get anything wrong. The last thing I want to do is to spread misinformation like certain people. If I got anything wrong, please let me know in the comments, because I believe in this cause and keeping what you pay for is pretty dope. Hot take, I know. So why kill these games? It just goes down to money and business. End of the day, companies are there to do one thing, which is to make money. And it's expensive to make and maintain games. If a game doesn't make money, why would they support it? Why would they use resources on a quote-unquote useless game that ain't making the bucks? Another reason is to sell you games that are kind of the same product with a new coat of paint and a number slapped on. And you won't be buying / playing those games if you're playing the previous version. So they kill it. What are you gonna do? Play the game that doesn't exist anymore? Can't you see they're just trying to make money off you? They just want to look at Overwatch 2 pre-Stadium. Overwatch 2 was released with pretty much the same functionality as Overwatch 1. Sure, the game came out for free, but the monetization practices they have implemented for Overwatch 2 are criminal, and in my opinion, the loot box system in Overwatch 1 was more fair than whatever bullshit Battle Pass FOMO abusing system that Blizzard has used. This will change the video games industry for the better, for the consumer, and for developers. Having games preserved allows developers to play old games for references for future titles. You can't make good music if you don't listen to music, especially music that's been released long ago. Same logic. For the companies, well, they are shitting their pants. They are so afraid of losing their bottom line, and it's great to see. Here's a list of companies that have already tried to lobby against the Stop Killing Games initiative. And to my understanding, there's already been fraudulent claims filed against Ross Scott. People who are against this are just going to be more desperate. Hell yeah, brother. So I give a shit about this. So what if these companies are killing these games? The money is one thing, but what it boils down to is that we should be preserving these games. Whether you think that games are art or not, sure, you're entitled to your opinion, but it's still an artistic medium. These games are made by people of many different backgrounds and talents that have come together to make something beautiful, something to be shared. Generations down the line should be able to enjoy the games made before, like how we today can enjoy seeing the Mona Lisa, or even listen to the Hurrian hymn. In case you don't know, the Hurrian hymn is the oldest song that is written down, which was dated to the 13th century BC. And that is cool. By the way, the song you've been hearing in this section is the Hurrian Hymn, and it's because of these efforts to preserve what others have created before is why we can enjoy it today. Because destroying games is just as bad as setting fire to books. Also, I don't like getting my shit taken away, especially if I already paid for it. Again, it's not only the consumer that suffers, but also the developers. They are the real artists and architects that make these games, not those suits on fancy boardrooms talking about business and profit margins. But they also make the decision if a game should be killed. Not to mention if they should still have a job or not, but that's already getting into a different topic.
I want to help, but I don't know how.
Well, I'll tell you, little Timmy. You can help by signing the petition by going to the Stop Killing Games website. Link will be in the description. However, this only applies to EU citizens. So, how else can you help if you're not, European? Talk about the Stop Killing Games initiative, spread the word, and let people know about it, even if they don't play video games, because we are not just trying to preserve games, but the human experience through the efforts, knowledge, and ingenuity these developers have poured into these works of art and code. And as of this recording, there's over 1.4 million signatures, but let's keep it up and
Let's up those numbers!
you can never have too many signatures. So let's fight for the right to keep the stuff we paid for. It's already dumb enough that we have to fight for that right.